I buried my husband alive in the backyard of our McMansion in suburban Chicago, right under the swings that our son used to love. While he begged me not to, his voice muffled through the duct tape. Eyes wild with the kind of terror that makes you question if you're the monster or the savior. It started with a lie about a business trip to Dallas. But what our 12-year-old unearthed in the attic wasn't just infidelity, it was the blueprint to a life built on my stolen years. My framed innocence. And a fortune soaked in blood I never knew about. And as the dirt piled on, I whispered through the soil that this wasn't revenge, it was justice. The kind that tastes like ash and freedom, even if it damns us both to hell. My name is Catherine Hale, and for 16 years, I believed in the myth of us. We were the Hales, Mark, the rising star in pharmaceutical sales, always jetting off to conferences in cities with skylines sharper than his smile. Me, the devoted wife juggling PDA meetings, yoga classes, and a part-time gig editing newsletters for the local library, and Ethan, our golden boy, with his freckles and dreams of becoming an astronaut. We lived in Oak Park, Illinois, that slice of Americana where the houses whisper secrets behind picket fences and the L train rattles like a guilty conscience. It was the kind of life Instagram envied: backyard barbecues, holiday cards with forced grins, and Mark's endless business trips that kept him away just long enough to make absence feel like romance.
But romance?
That died somewhere between his third affair and the night I found the first Polaroid.
No.
That's not fair. The affairs I suspected, even forgave in that numb, wifely way women do when the mortgage looms like a guillotine. Mark was charming, the kind of guy who could sell ice to Eskimos and pills to the desperate. His job took him to Dallas, Atlanta, Seattle, places where the neon blurred the lines between work and whatever the hell he did after hours. I'd wait up with a glass of Chardonnay, scrolling through his LinkedIn updates, telling myself the late-night texts from colleagues were harmless. Ethan was the one who cracked it open. 12 years old, all gangly limbs and curiosity that bordered on obsession. He had this habit of poking into things: old attics, locked drawers, the family history project for school that Mark always dodged. "Dad's trips are boring," Ethan would say, rolling his eyes when I'd ask about the souvenirs. But that autumn, with leaves turning the streets into a postcard from hell, Ethan came home from soccer practice with a laptop he'd borrowed from the school AV club.
Mom,
"I need to research space stuff," he lied. But I saw the glow in his eyes, the kind that said he'd found a black hole.
it was a Tuesday.
Mark was in Dallas again. Or so the email said, some conference on opioids. Ironic now that I think about it. I was in the kitchen, chopping onions for chili, the kind that stings your eyes like regret. Ethan burst through the back door, his backpack thudding like a heartbeat.
Mom,
"You gotta see this." His voice cracked, not from puberty, but from something sharper. He shoved the laptop under my nose. Screen open to a grainy scan of a document yellowed with age. It was a police report. From 2002. Chicago PD. And there, in block letters under suspect, was my name, Catherine Riley, my maiden name. Arrested for embezzlement from Hale Pharmaceuticals, the family business Mark had inherited and promptly sold off to fund his career. I'd been 22, fresh out of community college, working as a receptionist. The report detailed how I'd siphoned $250,000 into offshore accounts, framed by falsified ledgers. But the kicker? The victim listed was Mark Hale, my then-boyfriend, who'd pressed charges himself. I dropped the knife. It clattered into the sink. Onions forgotten. "Where did you get this?" My voice was a whisper, the kind that hides a scream. Ethan's face crumpled. The attic. Dad's old box under the floorboards. I was looking for his NASA clippings, for my project, and it just fell out. He clicked through tabs, more scans, emails from a PI Mark had hired back then, and a photo.
Me?
In cuffs. Outside the precinct. My face a mask of confusion while Mark stood in the background, arms crossed, looking every bit the betrayed hero. I hadn't done it. God, I hadn't touched a dime. But I'd pleaded guilty.
Why?
Because Mark convinced me it was the only way. Babe, it's a slap on the wrist, he'd said, his hands on my shoulders, eyes soft with that practiced sincerity. Community service, probation. If we fight it, they'll dig deeper into your mom's debts, your sister's mess. We can start fresh.
Fresh.
Like wiping a slate with blood. I'd served 6 months in county, lost my scholarship, and emerged with a record that barred me from every decent job. Mark proposed a month later, with a ring that sparkled like absolution. We built our life on that lie, and I swallowed it whole, because love makes fools of us all. But Ethan? He didn't know any of that.
To him,
I was Mom, the one who baked cookies shaped like rockets.
now,
His world tilted.
did you?
Steal, Mom? The question hung like smoke. I pulled him into a hug, his bony shoulders shaking.
No.
Baby.
It was a mistake.
One your dad helped fix. Lies upon lies. That night, I couldn't sleep. The house creaked like it knew. I crept to the attic, flashlight beam cutting shadows, and found the box. More documents, wire transfers to a Cayman account. Not in my name, but traced to Mark's shell company. Photos of him with a woman, not the mistress's, but someone sharper. Her smile all angles and ambition. Veronica Slade, corporate attorney, the one who'd advised him during the scandal. By dawn, I'd pieced it. Mark hadn't just framed me. He'd embezzled to cover gambling debts from his med school days. Debts that would have sunk the family biz. I was the fall guy, the pretty young thing easy to pin it on. And Veronica? She'd been his partner in crime, literally drafting the fake docs, then vanishing after the plea deal. But the box held one more gem, a letter. Undated. In her handwriting. Mark. She's perfect for it. Naive. Loyal. Once she's out, we run. The money's clean now. Run? They'd planned to leave me rotting. But Mark stayed.
Why?
Because I was useful, steady, forgiving. The perfect cover for his wandering. And the business trips? Code for meetings with her. Rekindling the fire in seedy motels off I-90. Ethan didn't speak to me for days. He ate in silence, stared at his plate like it held the stars he'd lost faith in. School called behavior issues. Withdrawal. I drove him to therapy. Sat in the waiting room flipping through magazines that lied about perfect families. Inside, I seethed. Not just at Mark, but at myself. For the years I'd gaslit my own doubts. For the son now paying for our poison. The first act of revenge wasn't planned. It was instinct. Mark landed at O'Hare on Friday, bouquet in hand. All apologies for the delayed flight. Missed you.
Kath.
His kiss tasted like airport whiskey. Ethan was at a sleepover. Thank God. I waited until he showered, then slipped into his suitcase. Tucked in the lining, a burner phone. Its log full of texts to VS, Veronica Slade. Dallas was electric. She's asking questions. Shut it down. I didn't confront him. Not yet. Instead, I texted from the burner. She's onto us. Meet me.
Now.
Then deleted the thread, heart pounding like a war drum. He checked his phone post-shower, face paling. Emergency call, he muttered, grabbing keys. I watched from the window as his taillights vanished toward the city. He met her at a dive bar in Wicker Park, the kind with neon signs flickering like bad omens. I followed in my old Honda, parked across the street, pulse thundering. Through the grimy window, I saw them, Mark, hunched over a booth. Veronica across from him, her laugh slicing the air. She was stunning still blonde bob, power suit that screamed boardroom predator. They leaned in, heads close, his hand on hers. Not lovers. Not anymore. Partners. Plotting. I waited until they left, her arm linked in his, heading to a hotel. That's when I smashed the burner under my tire, sparks flying like tiny confessions. Back home, I poured scotch, real stuff, from his stash and plotted. Revenge isn't a dish, it's a slow poison. And I had 16 years of ingredients. The next week blurred. Ethan thought a bit. Asked about the mistake. I told him half-truths. Your dad was scared. He made a bad call. Lies to protect him. Or me. Mark noticed the chill. Chalked it to teen stuff. But his trips ramped up. Phoenix.
Now.
I hacked his email with a password I'd guessed years ago, our anniversary. Romantic fool. Invoices for private jets. Not company ones. And payments to a trust fund. Not for Ethan. For a girl named Lila Slatehale. Age 10. My world imploded again. Veronica's daughter. Our daughter? No, the dates didn't match. But the trust? Funded by my stolen future. The job I never got because of that record. I drove to the library, buried in microfiche until closing, piecing her life. Veronica, rising DA in Cook County now, clean as a whistle. Lila, private school, ballet recitals. The perfect life, built on my ruins. Ethan found me there, curled in the genealogy section. Mom, you're scaring me. His hand on my shoulder grounded me. I need to make it right.
Kiddo.
For us. That night, I called an old friend from county, Rita, now a PI with a grudge against the system. Dig.
Kath.
But careful. These snakes bite. Her report landed a week later. Mark hadn't just framed me. He'd killed for it. The gambling ring? Run by his uncle, who'd threatened to expose the embezzlement. A car accident in '03, right after my release. Brake lines cut. Per the hushed coroner's note Rita unearthed. Mark walked free. Alibi ironclad with me. The ex-con fresh out. Vouching he was home all night. I'd lied for him, thinking it was love. God. The irony. Rage bloomed. Dark and fertile. I started small, anonymous tips to Mark's boss about irregular expenses. Watched him sweat over dinner. Blaming the market. Then, to Veronica's office, a packet of those old docs. Mailed from a ghost address. Her LinkedIn went quiet. Rumors swirled of an internal probe. But Ethan? He was my anchor and my undoing. I heard Dad on the phone. He confessed one night, voice small, talking about fixing her again. Like before. My blood iced. They knew. And the net was closing. I confronted Mark in the garage, under the guise of organizing holiday bins. Who's Lila? The words hung like exhaust. His face, so. That mask cracked. Kath. It's not. Liar. I shoved the trust papers at him. You stole my life. Buried a man for it. And now this? A secret family? He lunged. Not violent, but desperate. I protected us. The debts would have taken everything. You were. Expendable then. Expendable. The word echoed. We grappled. Boxes tumbling. Ornaments shattering like vows. He pinned me against the workbench, breath hot. Ethan doesn't need to know. But Ethan did. From the doorway, shadow long.
Dad.
The betrayal in his eyes, mine, amplified. Mark released me. Spun. Son. It's. Get out. Ethan's voice. Steal at 12. Mark left that night, duffel in hand, tail lights fading into the rain-slicked street. Freedom tasted bitter. But revenge? That was the sweet undercurrent. I filed for divorce Monday, citing irreconcilable lies. Rita tailed him to a safe house in Evanston, Veronica's condo. They were holed up, plotting countersuit, smearing me as unstable. Ethan and I packed. Where to?
Mom.
Somewhere new. Where we rewrite the stars. But as we drove west on I-94, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. You think it's over?
Check the basement.
I didn't have a basement. Mark did. Back at the house. Now his again per the lease. Heart slamming. I turned around. Ethan protested. But I left him with Rita. The house was dark, reeking of his cologne. In the basement, unfinished, concrete cold, I pried open the utility closet. Not drugs, not bodies. Files. Hundreds. Patient records from Hale Pharma's heyday, opioid scripts. Forged, doled to clinics in the Rust Belt. Mark's side hustle, pushing pills, fueling the crisis for profit. And my name? Signed on dozens. Backdated to my employment. He'd used my identity post-frame, layering crimes on my ghost. Upstairs, sirens wailed distant. Neighbors, probably, spotting my car. I burned what I could, smoke acrid, then fled. But the seed was planted. Not just revenge, exposure. The kind that topples empires. The divorce dragged like a bad hangover. All headaches and false dawns. Mark lawyered up with Veronica's firm, conflict of interest be damned, and countersued for custody. Painting me as the villain. Unstable ex-con. Bitter and broke. Catherine's history speaks for itself. His filing read. That police report dusted off like a trophy. Ethan shuttled between us, his eyes hollowing out. The astronaut dreams shelved for therapy sessions where he drew pictures of black holes swallowing families. I crashed with Rita in her Pilsen walk-up, the kind of place where murals bleed into the brick and Ticarius hum till dawn. She was my war room, white bards scrawled with timelines, red string connecting Mark to shell core. Veronica to PAC donations that greased her DA rise. He's dirty.
Kath.
But she's the Teflon queen. Climbed on bodies, yours included, nights. I'd pace the fire escape, Chicago's skyline mocking me with its lights. Wrigley Field glowed like a false promise. Cubs fans cheering wins I'd never taste. I missed Ethan fiercely, his small hand in mine during drives to planetarium shows.
Now.
Supervised visits only. Mark hovering like a hawk.
See?
She's fine, I'd say, forcing smiles over McDonald's nuggets. But inside, the rage fermented. Not blind hate, calculated,
Cold.
I wanted them to feel the slow unravel, thread by thread. First thread, the pills. I leaked samples of those basement files to a blogger in Milwaukee, one who'd made a name off big pharma exposés. Anonymized. Of course, scans with watermark scrubbed. Inside look, ghost signatures in opioid scandal. It hit alt weeklies. Then Twitter storms. Mark's company suspended him pending review, his inbox flooding with subpoenas. He called.
Voice oily.
This you?
Kath. Petty shit.
It'll boomerang. Petty. I laughed.
Low.
Like framing your fiancé for felony theft. Silence. Then click. But I heard the crack, fear.
Real.
Veronica spun it publicly. Misfiled docs from a bygone era. No wrongdoing. Her presser. All poise and pearls. Aired on local news. I watched from Rita's couch. Ethan asleep beside me after visit. She's good, I muttered. But good lies crack under weight. Ethan woke then, rubbing eyes.
Mom.
Is Dad a bad guy? The question gutted me. He's complicated, baby. Like all of us. We moved to a studio in Logan Square. Hipster haven with breweries and bike lanes, far from Oak Park's ghosts. I landed freelance editing, remote, record-friendly gigs for indie mags. Money tight, but freedom? Priceless. Ethan enrolled in a new school. Made a friend named Jamal who shared his space obsession. Progress. Fragile as eggshell. But Mark escalated. One visit. He cornered me in the parking lot. Rain sheeting down. Veronica can bury you. Custody.
Career gone.
Drop the leaks. Or Ethan pays. His grip on my arm. Bruising. I twisted free. Knee to groin instinct. He doubled.
Gasping.
Touch me again. And the world sees everything. That night. Twist 1. Rita's contact at the feds pinged. Mark wasn't just pushing pills. He'd laundered through Veronica's campaigns. Donations from consultants tied to his uncle's old ring. The accident? Not the first. A whistleblower pharmacist. Suicided in '04. Note forged. Mark's prints. Faint. On the pen. I debated turning it over. Justice. Real courts. Not my dirt. But courts had failed me once. Plea deal. No trial. His word over mine.
No.
This was personal. I fed it to the blogger. Follow the money. Pharma to politics. Shares exploded. Hailgate trending. Veronica's office stonewalled. But cracks showed. Junior staff jumping ship. Donors ghosting. Ethan sensed the storm. People at school say Dad's in trouble. Is it because of you? Guilt clawed.
No. Sweetie.
Because of him. Then. The call that flipped the board. Unknown. Mrs. Hale, this is Lila. 10 years old. Voice like tinkling glass. Mom says you're trying to hurt us. Why? Veronica's puppet. Or worse, innocent shrapnel. I froze. Lila. Honey. It's not. She cries at night. Says you're a liar like Dad.
Click.
Veronica's play weaponized the kid. My resolve hardened to diamond. No more leaks. Time for direct. I tailed Veronica to a gala in the Loop. Black tie affair for opioid victims. Irony's cruel joke. Rita posed as caterer. Slip me in through service. Crystal chandeliers. Gowns swirling. Mark at her side in tux. Arm possessive. I wore thrift store red. Bold as sin. Cornered her by the bar. Nice fundraiser. Profiting off the pain you peddled. Her eyes. Ice blue. Flicked over me. Catherine. Slumming it. Poise unbroken. But the micro-twitch, fear. Slumming? That's your husband's specialty. I slid a USB across the marble. Everything. Files. Transfers. The suicides. Your choice, resign. Or, it goes viral. She paled. Just a shade. Blackmail? From the felon. But her hand pocketed it. Quick. Mark approached then. Face thunder. What the? Evening. Darling. I toasted with stolen champagne. Tell Lila mommy's a hero. I slipped out, heart racing, into the night air thick with lake wind. Back home, Ethan waited with pizza, his treat from allowance. Good day, he asked. Cheese stringing. The best. Lie, but sweet. Retaliation came swift. Cops at my door dawn. Anonymous tip. Me harassing a public official. Handcuffs again. Cold kiss of steel. But Rita bailed me. Fuming. Veronica's pulling strings. DA perks. In holding, I stewed. Not scared, enraged. They thought me broken still. The girl from A2O.
Wrong.
I was forged now. Release brought heat. Paps outside the studio. Headlines twisting. Ex-con stalks DA. Custody hearing loomed. Mark gunning for full. Ethan clung during visits. Don't let them take me. Mom. Never. Vow etched in bone. Twist 2. Ethan's discovery. Part 2. While I rotted overnight, he'd snuck into Mark's email. Kids got skills from those AV club hacks. Forwarded to me. Thread with Veronica. She's escalating. Plant the evidence. Make it look like she torched the files. Arson on her record? Custody's ours.
Plant?
In my old house, they'd frame me again. Cycle complete. But the email held gold. Coordinates for a meet. Tomorrow. Gary. Indiana. Abandoned warehouse. Neutral ground for final payoff. I didn't sleep.
Dawn.
I armed. Pepper spray. Recorder app. Rita's Glock and purse borrowed. Off books. Drove the hour. Rust belt ghosts lining the road. Mills shuttered. Hope rusted. Warehouse loomed. Graffiti scars. Wind howling through broken panes. They waited inside. Mark. Twitchy, Veronica. Regal even in jeans. Lila absent, small mercy. Kath. Mark started. Placating. This ends. Sign the papers. Vanish. Or. I clicked record. Hidden. Veronica stepped forward. Voice silk over steel. Or we finish what we started. Ethan's future, our gift. Gift? Like the noose around my neck once. Rage surged. You killed for this. Uncle. The pharmacist. My life. Mark flinched. Desperate times. You bounced back. Bounced? I lost everything. Scream echoed. Veronica's laugh.
Sharp.
And gained a family. Pity you couldn't keep it. I lunged, nodded her at Mark, nails raking his cheek. He shoved. Hard, I hit concrete, breath whooshing. She loomed, heel to my wrist. Pathetic. But then sirens. Distant.
Closing.
Rita? No, back up. Mark's face drained. What did you do? Insurance. Bluff. But they bought. Panic. He bolted for a side door. She followed.
Cursing.
I rose. Bruised. Triumphant. Called Rita. Traced the warehouse. Now. By nightfall. Feds swarmed, tip from my anonymous forward of that email. Not arson plot, but money trail. Raids, Mark's safe house. Veronica's condo. Handcuffs for them. Finally. Ethan greeted me home. Hug bone-crushing. You're bleeding. Just scratches. We ate ice cream for dinner. Watching stars from the fire escape. Victory. Pyrrhic, but pure. Or so I thought. Morning brought the call. Lila.
Sobbing.
Mom's gone. They took her. Because of you. Child's voice.
Dagger.
No sides clean, her pain. Mine's echo. Revenge's cost. Innocence lost. Again. The raids hit like a Midwest blizzard. Sudden. Blinding. Burying everything in white-hot scrutiny. Front pages screamed. Pharma heir and DA busted in money laundering sting. Mark's mugshot. That chiseled jaw slack. Veronica's. Defiant glare through smudged lenses. Lila shipped to her aunt in Milwaukee. Ethan grilled by social workers like a suspect.
Me?
I was the whistleblower. Sainted in leaks. Sinner in custody crossfire. Cooperation recommended. The ADA purred over coffee. Her office overlooking the river. All glass and grudges. Testify.
Catherine.
Full immunity. Immunity. Word like bomb on Burns. But testifying meant court. Lights hot. Mark's eyes boring holes while lawyers dissected my past. Felon turned avenger. They'd spin.
And Ethan?
Front row. Absorbing the rot. I hedged. Need time. Time to breathe. To hold my son without cameras flashing like judgment. Rita scoffed over tamales at her sisters. Time's for fools. Nail 'em now, or they slither free. She was right. Mark's arraignment. Bail posted by mystery donors. Veronica's?
Denied. But appeals flying.
Their web tangled deep. Politicians, execs, the opioid ghosts haunting hollowed towns. Ethan withdrew deeper. School counselor flagged existential dread. Kid vocab for soulsick. Nights. He'd sketch. Families fractured. Planets colliding. What if I become like them? Mom? Liars. I cupped his face. Freckles faint under street lamp glow. You won't. You're light. But doubt gnawed. Was I teaching resilience or ruin? The hearing loomed. Emergency custody. Mark's Hail Mary. I prepped with Rita's shark attorney. Pro bono grudge. Courtroom smelled of polish and panic. Lake County granite walls echoing footsteps. Judge Harlan.
Hawk-eyed.
Banged gavel. Mark testified first. Suit crisp. Voice honeyed. Catherine's unstable. History of deceit. Ethan's safety. Lies slithered. I gripped the stand. Oath heavy. He framed me, Your Honor. Stole my life. Killed to cover. Exhibits, files, emails. The warehouse tape, Veronica's heel crunch immortalized. Gasps rippled. Mark's lawyer objected. Prejudicial. But Harlan leaned in. Let her speak. I did. Hours. Unraveling the spool. The frame. The accident. The pills. The secret fund for Lila. He used me as shield. Then sword. Voice cracked on Ethan's name. But held. Cross-exam. You burn documents? Mrs.
Hail.
Arson. Smirk implied. Self-preservation. Jury community pillars. Teachers. Factory hands shifted. Some nodded. Others eyed my record. Tattooed in ink. Verdict. Joint custody. Supervised for Mark. Pending trials. Small win. But his eyes, defeat. Laced with venom. Post-hearing. He cornered me in hall. You think this ends it? Lila's aunt, my plant. Custody flips soon. Threat. Velvet gloved. I walked away. Spine steel. But Lila's face haunted, innocent in the crossfire. Was I avenger or abuser? Life stuttered forward. We settled in a two-flat in Ukrainian village, pierogies and polka drifting from below. I gigged more, true crime pods. Irony embraced. Ethan thrived-ish, science fair win, rocket launch in the park. But shadows lingered. Anonymous cards, blood money funds your rent. Mark's doing. Or fans. Twist 3, the aunt called. Lila's guardian. Soft-spoken Wisconsinite. She's asking for you.
Catherine.
Says her mom mentioned the other lady who got hurt. Veronica's slip? Or trap? I drove north. Ethan in tow, bonding road trip. Or so I framed. Milwaukee sprawled. Brewtown charm masking rust. Aunt's bungalow. Gingerbread trim. Smelled of lutefisk. Lila waited on porch swing. Pigtails frayed. Eyes Mark's green.
Piercing.
You're Ethan's mom. Statement. Not question.
Yeah.
And you're
Tough.
like your mom. Awkward. But she giggled. We walked the lakefront. Gulls wheeling. Wind whipping secrets. Ethan chased waves. Lila confided. Daddy Mark says you're mean. But Mommy cries when she reads your letters. Letters? I hadn't sent. Veronica's forge. Poisoning the well. But Lila slipped me a note. Folded tight. Help. They're coming for her too. Her handwriting? Child scrawl. No, adult. Veronica's slant. Confusion swirled. Back home. Rita decoded. Forgery.
But why? Bait.
The they. Feds? No, deeper. Mark's old ring. Revived. Uncle's ghost crew. Indignant at the bust. Veronica snitching in plea talks. Trading up.
Panic spiked.
I wired the note to the blogger. DA's daughter in crosshairs? Story blue. Protective order for Lila. Aunt grateful. Lila waved goodbye. Small hand trusting. But Mark retaliated visceral. Custody swap at neutral park. Ethan emerges. Backpack slung. Face ashen. Dad said. You're why Grandpa's dead. The accident. Twisted. He crashed because you lied. I knelt. Gravel-biting knees. Baby.
No.
Dad's scared. Lashing. But seed planted. Doubt sprouting. That night,
breakdown.
Sobbed in shower. Water scalding. Ethan pounding door. Mom, it's okay. Wise beyond. My ruins bloom. Revenge morphed, not destruction. Protection. I testified. Full throttle. Trial opened in federal court. Downtown behemoth. Security wands beeping like heart monitors. Prosecution. Airtight. My words the blade. Mark's defense. Sob story. Desperate man. Bad choices. Catherine knew, complicit. Gaslight jury with my record. Veronica flipped first, deal for Lila's sake. He forced me, she wept on stand, Oscar-worthy. The frame, the kills, his idea. Mark's turn rage. Liar, you drafted it all. Court erupted. Bailiffs wrestling. His eyes met mine across aisle, hate.
Raw.
You'll pay?
Kath.
I didn't flinch. Already did. Verdict. Guilty.
Both.
Mark. 25. To life. Veronica. 15 with good behavior. Cheers muted. Justice. But tainted. Opethid widows in gallery wept not joy, but echo. Ethan hugged post-verdict. Rare public affection. It's over? Mostly. But Lila? Visitation granted. Half-sisters bonding. Awkward bridge. Yet, in the quiet after, doubt festered. Veronica's note real? Rita dug. Yes. Warning from her. Pre-flip. They were the crew. Targeting snitches. Mark's cell? Protection shaky. One night. Burner buzz. Warehouse. Midnight. Or the kids. Coordinates same as before. Trap. Or truth. I loaded the Glock. Kissed sleeping Ethan. Drove into dark. Gary's mall waiting. Warehouse echoed empty. Moon slicing beams. Footsteps multiple. Shadows coalesced. 3 men. Ghosts from Mark's past. Ex-cons. Tattooed regrets. Hale sends regards. One growled. Louisville slugger tapping palm. I raised the gun. Steady. He sends? From Supermax. Bluff voice. But hands shook. Laughter.
Low. Nah. We send.
You snitched brought heat. Fight blurred. Swing dodged. Shot wild warning. They circled. Taunts flying. Framers whore. Adrenaline surged. I fired true. Kneecap one. Howls. Backup? Rita.
En route.
They fled. One limping. Cops swarmed after. My 911 mid-scuffle. Self-defense. Rita coached. Charges dropped. But scars fresh. Ethan. Fetched at dawn. What happened? Ghosts. Baby. Banished. But the real twist whispered. Mark. From inside. Orchestrated. Phone logs Rita pulled. Jail calls to the crew. Not end. Escalation. His revenge. From bars. I held Ethan tighter. War wasn't over. Just relocated. Prison suited Mark like an ill-tailored suit. Itchy. Constricting. But he wore it with that salesman swagger. Turning cons into confidants. Guards into grudging allies. Letters arrived filtered. His script looping like nooses. Kath. For Ethan's sake. Drop the appeals. We're family. Family. Word curdled. I forwarded them to his PO. Building the harassment case. Veronica. In women's minimum upstate. Went radio silent. deals price. Isolation for intel. Lila bounced between aunt and supervised weekends with her. Eyes wary now. Trust fractured like cheap china. Ethan and I carved normalcy from chaos. Root beer floats at the drive-in. Replays of Apollo docs. His first crush on a girl named Sophia. Awkward texts I pretended not to snoop. But normalcy's a thin veneer underneath. The crew's threat lingered. Shadows and alleys. Wrong number hang-ups that breathe static. Rita upped security pepper kits.
Deadbolts.
Her cousin's off-duty cop for walks. They're circling.
Kath.
Mark's puppet mastering from the pound. I nodded. But inside? Fatigue. Bone deep. Revenge had hollowed me. Victory pyre. Ashes bitter. Testified at sentencing. Voice steady. He stole more than money. Futures. Judge nodded. Gavel's sealing fates. But as marshals led him away, Mark twisted.
Mouthed, you'll see.
Promise or curse. Summer hit humid. Cicadas droning dirges. We vacation cheap, Wisconsin Dells, water parks and cheese curds. Lila tagging along for Sister Week. Awkward at first. Ethan. Sullen teen. Lila. Wide-eyed imp. But by tube floats down lazy rivers. Laughter bubbled. You're not so bad, Lila conceded.
Splashing.
Mom says you are. Moms fib sometimes. Half-truth. We built sandcastles of secrets. Eroding with tides. Back in Chicago. Heat wave broke with storms. Thunder like artillery. That night. Power flickered. Ethan at friends. Me alone with wine. And what-ifs. Doorbell chimed. Insistent. Peered through peephole. Delivery guy. Brown uniform.
Clipboard bland.
Signed. Tipped. Box heavy. Unmarked. Inside. Polaroids. Dozens.
Me.
Oh, two. Cuffed and crying. Wedding day. Veil translucent. Ethan newborn. Swaddled innocent. And new. Lila's ballet recital. Snapped covert. Topped with note. Family album. Add yours? No signature. But sent. Mark's aftershave. Feign on paper. Panic clawed. Called Rita. Crew. Or him. She raced over. Box dusted for prints. Smudged. Useless. Escalation. We go public.
No.
Public meant Ethan splashed again. Sophia's whispers turning cruel. Instead, I played offense. Hired a forger, ironic. Black market artist from Rita's network to craft bait, fake deed to a hidden hail asset, $2 mill in Bahamas. Addressed to Mark's commissary. Slipped it via fan mail, jail approved. Days later. Ping. Crew chatter intercepted by Rita's Fed pal. Hail's score. Dell's drop next month. My Vaki spot. Trap set. I didn't cancel. Drove up with kids. SUV packed. Glock tucked. Aunt dropped Lila. We checked into the rustic lodge. Pines whispering warnings. Days idle, mini-golf. Go-karts. Ethan crowning Lila Cheese queen at supper club.
Nights.
I patrolled balconies. Stars indifferent. It dropped on solstice eve, fireworks boom masking approach. Ethan and Lila asleep. Me on porch swing. Thermos spiked. Footsteps crunched gravel, two shadows. Ball caps low. Hale says hi. One lunged. Zip tie ready. I sidestepped. Pepper spray blooming red.
Coughs.
Curses. Second swung pipe. Grazed shoulder. Fire lance pain. Screams woke kids. Ethan herded Lila to bath. Barricade. I fired ceiling ward. Warning roar. Shadows bolted. But one tripped. Mask slipping. Familiar scar. From warehouse. Cops swarmed. Resort security tipped by my pre-call. Arrests. Low-level muscle. Rolling on the boss for deals. Interrogation vid. Courtesy Rita. Hale put the hit. From inside. Wanted the kids. Leverage. Leverage for what? Appeals? Or darker, silencing me permanent. Back home. Bruises blooming. Eye broke. Therapy. Mandated now. Circle with other survivors. Stories swapping like scars. Revenge doesn't heal, the shrink droned. It hollows. True. But hollows fill with resolve. Twist 4. Veronica's letter. Smuggled via aunt. Catherine, he's breaking me. Cruz his. Not mine. Lila's next if I talk more. Help. Postscript. Coordinates. Not warehouse. Mark's childhood home. Naperville outskirts. Abandoned since the sale. Help. From the woman who'd healed my wrist? But Lila's face. Echo of Ethan's pain. No choice. I drove solo. Autumn leaves carpeting like warnings. House sagged. Victorian ghost. Windows blind.
Inside.
Dust motes danced. Basement stairs creaked descent. Not empty. Veronica chained to beam. Gown rags. Face gaunt. You came. Disbelief. Then sob. Key on hook, crew sloppy. Unlocked. Rubbed wrists raw. Why? Lila. Simple. And maybe. Absolution. She spilled. Mark's masterstroke. From cell. He'd radicalized the crew. Manifesto of betrayed men. Me the symbol. Hits not random. Ritual. Next, Ethan. Public. School event. To martyr. We fled. Her and my passenger. Naperville blurring. Cops.
I asked. No.
Feds track me. Paranoia. Earned. Drop off. Safe house Rita prepped. Witness protection light. Tell them everything, I urged. End it. Her grip.
Fierce.
I framed you. Why? Cycle stops. Or bends. She vanished into program. Lila folded in. Testimonies piled. Hers. Crew snitches. Mark's trial redux conspiracy add-on. Gavel. Life. No parole. His final glare. Via video link. Shattered. Human.
Kath.
Sorry. Too late. But sorry's a start. Ethan process low. You saved her? Why? Kids don't pay for parent sins. Irony. Mine included. Winter blanketed mercy. Holidays quiet, tree trimmed with Ethan's ornaments. Lila's drawing framed, us four. Stick figure family. No blood, but bonds.
Yet.
Controversy brewed. Media split me. Vigilante mom or vengeful harpy. Op-eds debated. Justice or vendetta? Protests outside court. Pharma victims cheering. Men's rights howling witch hunt. Polarized. As promised, no heroes. Just survivors clawing light. Ethan's birthday. 13th. Telescope under wrapping. Stars through smog. Thanks,
Mom.
for fighting. Fighting's easy. Forgiving's hard.
Truth.
Budding. Budding quiet. Doubts whispered. Veronica free in 10? Lila's scars? My hands, bloodless but stained. Revenge's dawn. Uneasy peace. Spring thawed the ice, but not the chill in my veins. Chicago bloomed, tulips defiant in window boxes. L trains rumbling rebirth, but our world stayed wintered. Ethan hit growth spurt, voice dropping octaves, questions sharpening to blades.
Mom.
If Dad's gone forever, who's the bad guy now? No easy answer. I mumbled about Grays. But inside, the mirror cracked, my reflection. Avenger or architect of orphans. Veronica's relocation leaked, new name. Seattle's suburb. Lila in public school with soccer dreams. Occasional cards arrived, and signed grateful. Healing. Cryptic olive branches. I burned most. Kept one for Ethan's drawer. Proof we're not monsters. The crew's remnants scattered, trials churning. Plea deals dominoing. Rita's Fed pal closed the ring. Mark's manifesto, a jailhouse screed, circulated like contraband gospel. Women's shelters reported spikes. Exes targeted. Echoes of my war. I spoke at one. Voice raw. Don't wait for permission. Fight dirty if clean fails. Applause thundered. But backlash bit. Online trolls dubbing me Black Widow hail. Petitions for my custody revocation. Custody. Mark's appeal died quiet. His lawyer folding post-confessions. Ethan full-time mine. But visitations to Uncle Mark? Denied. Mercifully. Still. Dreams plagued. His face in dirt. Begging. Not literal yet, but the pull tempted. Dark tide. Twist 5. The gut punch. Ethan's discovery. Final. Spring break. He raided my lockbox. Curiosity's curse. Emerged pale. Clutching the original police report. Annotated now with my marginalia.
Mom.
You killed Grandpa.
No.
The accident. Mark's cut lines. But in my notes, rage scribbled. He deserves the same. Hypothetical. Fever dream vent. But to Ethan? Confession. Confrontation in kitchen. Cereal soggy. You planned it? Like Dad. Words. Baby. Angry words.
Lie.
Half. I'd fantasized garage grave. Swing set shroud, but stopped short. Sanity's thin line. He bolted. Door slam earthquake. Hours out. Wandering Wicker Park alleys till Rita tracked. Home. We talked dawn. Truths unvarnished. I wanted him gone. But didn't. Love you too much for that dark. Tears. His first witnessed. I hate him. But you. You're supposed to be better.
Crushed.
Therapy doubled. Family sessions with Lila, via Zoom. Awkward pixels bridging. She shared. Mom says revenge eats you. Like acid. Veronica's wisdom. Earned in chains. Summer swelled. Decision loomed. Relocate? Chicago's ghosts too thick. Courthouse spires mocking. Oak Park house sold to strangers oblivious. Rita pushed Portland. Rain-washed. Tech gigs. Fresh orbits for Ethan. But roots tugged. Final act. Closure ritual. Drove to the old McMansion. Now strangers. For sale sign Johnny. Backyard accessed via alley. Chain link snipped quiet. Swing set rusted. Chains creaking wind chimes. Ethan dug, not deep. Symbolic, burying letters, Mark's lies. My rages. Kids' drawings of futures unscarred. As soil patted, he asked, what if he gets out? Life means life. But law's flexible, Appeals eternal. We left lighter. Dirt under nails like absolution. Relocation, yes. Portland's fog embraced, coffee roasts, microbrews. Ethan's new school with planetarium dome. Lila visited fall. Train ride adventure, sisters scheming sleepovers. Veronica? Distant calls. Voice mending. I was wrong. All of it. Forgiven. I tested. Not yet. But trying. Controversy peaked. Docu-series pitch. Hail Betrayal. Producers salivated. My angle? Polarizing. I declined. Our story's private, but leaks fed frenzy. Forum split. Team Catherine versus Free Mark. Debates raging ethics. Ends justify? Kids collateral? One night. Ethan scrolled. Face grim. They say you're the villain. For ruining lives. I joined. Read the bile. Villains win arguments. Heroes live quiet. Cliché.
But core.
Final hook, the call. Commissary cold. Mark. Voice gravel.
Kath.
Hearing next month. Good behavior, parole shot. Ice flood. And visit? For Ethan.
No.
But curiosity, Rita's line. Monitored. Safe. I went. Supermax sterile. Plexi dividing worlds. He looked shrunk. Orange jumpsuit clownish. You won. Did I? Bitterness mine now. Destroying me. Freed you.
Ha.
Cost everything.
Paused.
Why the hits? From here. Desperation. Thought it'd force your hand. Back off. Or break. Twisted logic. But seeing you.
Strong.
Ethan's lucky. Revelation. Regret. Real? Or ploy? Tell him yourself. Letter. I will. If you ask. Twist's cusp, I did. Not for absolution, Ethan's. Letter arrived weeks later. Apologies scrawled.
Halting.
I failed you both. Be better. Ethan read. Folded. Burned. It's something. Ending? No tidy bow. Portland rains wash sins. But stains lingered. I edited memoirs, not mine. Ghosts true crime with heart. Ethan launched model rockets. Sophia evolved to girlfriend. Awkward dances. Lila thrived. Veronica rebuilt, law prof now. Reforming from ashes.
Me?
Dated casual, a barista with tattoos and trust issues. No rings. Lessons learned. One dawn. Fog lifting. Ethan knocked.
Mom.
Thanks. For the fight. Worth it. He grinned. Freckles flashing.
Yeah.
Stars are brighter after dark. Justice. Then, not triumph, but truce. Controversial still. Did I save or scar? Readers, you judge. But in our orbit, light prevailed. Epilogue whisper. Mark's pearl?
Denied.
Again. But law's long game. Vigilance. Eternal. We live. Defiant.
Whole.